Hello crafty friends, this is card number 10 in Full Deck Challenge 2. The prompts are green, circles, staples, words. For my green, I've got some acrylic paint and some color splash ink. I'll see if I use one or both. I'm not quite sure yet. For my circles, I'm going to be using some Happy Scrap circles. I love using my Happy Scraps. I'll show you how to make these. And then also just a stapler for the staples, either a big stapler or if you have the little mini ones, they're also cute. And then for the words, I just have my little sentiments that are stickers. You could cut something out of a magazine. You could also handwrite something, anything that you like or anything that you have on your craft table. I'm going to prep my card so that I can add the acrylic paint and or the ink. I prep most of my cards like this. I just use a piece of white tissue paper, which I add with Mod Podge. The tissue paper that I'm using is the type that you'd use for gift wrapping. After I've applied the Mod Podge and applied the tissue paper on top and pressed it flat, I apply a second layer of Mod Podge over the top. This helps make the tissue paper a bit more durable so it doesn't tear when you apply the wet medium. Once it's dried well, either tear or cut off the excess tissue paper. This card I'm working intuitively. I really don't have an actual plan, so I'm applying the green acrylic paints directly onto the card, using my finger to spread it out, then a bit of water. I'm just trying to see which way I like it. I'm not quite happy with that, so I just take it off with a wet baby wipe. I dry the little bit that is left there that maybe can create a good base, and then I'm going to try the ink. This ink is Color Splash in the color Lime Splash, and it's from Little Birdie Crafts. I do have a link in the description below. There is also a code with a discount if you purchase. So I'm just applying it randomly. I've sprayed some water to spread some of the color out, and I've left some darker bits too with just the splashes. I like it just quite random and not with the color everywhere. I'm going to dry this well and just see what I'm left with. I think it's left some beautiful textures and beautiful lighter and darker areas which are contrasting well. I do quite like that background. And now, because I'm totally addicted to using gesso, if you're not new to my channel, you will know that I use this in almost every project. I am going to add a little bit of white gesso just here and there on the card, just with my finger, just blending in some areas, just to lighten some of the areas and just to blend it in. I think it gives it a softer look, and I like it better than just the green sort of just on top of the card. I feel this makes it a bit more harmonious. Now for our circle element. I'm going to make circles out of Happy Scraps. These are my Happy Scraps. If you have not seen them before, I will put a link to a video in the description below to show you how these are created. And there are many, many, many ways to use them. They are super fun to make and very versatile. So I'm just going to take a piece of A4 paper and I'm going to use a glue stick and stick some of my strips down. Now you don't have to have strips, you could have them just little pieces, just rough offcuts, whatever you have. I just like working with strips. I just like the blend of colors. So I'm just going to stick them down slightly overlapping and alternating the colors so there's different ones next to each other. It's not too late to join in the Full Deck Challenge. We've completed Full Deck Challenge 1. I'll put the link in the description below. And now we're on Full Deck Challenge 2. Join at any time, in any order that you want. There's hardly any rules. It's super fun, and I try to get you to work outside your comfort zone. If you're on Facebook, do look for my group. Search Full Deck Challenge Group. Once I've stuck down all my Happy Scraps, I'm going to punch out my circles. I'm using a 1.5 inch round punch. If you don't have a punch, that's fine. You can always cut them freehand. I really like the pinks in the pieces that I've put down, so I'm trying to include those in my circles. So now it's just about placing them on your card and just see which way they are balanced and which way they look best. Now mine are pretty big, so I can't even put full ones onto the card. I'm going to have them sort of hanging off on each side, which is also fine. And I'm just attaching these with a glue stick. Once they're all glued down, I'm going to just trim off the excess. Now I want to define the circles a little bit more. So I'm using a black Posca pen just to scribble around each circle a few times. I don't want it neat and tidy. I want it quite rough looking and hand drawn. And then I'm also doing a few little squiggles just to give it a bit more texture. If you don't have a Posca pen, you could also use a Sharpie or a black marker, a felt tip pen, a fine liner, or even just a black colouring in pencil, whatever you have handy. I also decided to do a frame around the card using the same pen. My stapling, I'm keeping simple. I'm just going to staple 4 times just in the same direction over each of the circles. Once I find my words, I just stick those down, and then I'm feeling that it's a bit not balanced, that it needs something in the top right hand corner, so I'm adding another piece of the circle in the same way, and then also just scribbling with some of that. I think that's a bit more balanced and it fills the card better. To highlight my sentiment, which has got a black background, I'm using a white acrylic paint marker just to go around it, just to let it pop off the page a little bit. I'm just framing it so it highlights it. I'm now going to add a little bit of white splatter over the entire card. I'm using watered down acrylic paint. I've made it quite watery because I want the splotches to be quite small. So I'm just going to use a small paintbrush and just flick that over the entire card. I find when adding splatter, especially at the end of a project over everything, it tends to sort of connect the entire project. There are a few big blobs that I don't like, so I'm just going to quickly wipe those up with the wet baby wipe while they're still wet, and then I'm going to dry this well. Let me show you a close-up of the card so you can see all the beautiful detail and the lovely textures. I'm really happy the way this has turned out, and I love the color contrast between the happy scraps and the green background, and then I love the black framing of each circle. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you were inspired to create your own and to join in my full deck challenge if you haven't already. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video. I really do appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.